morning, Boker Tov. Today you're going to learn the Hebrew alphabet, and we're going to go one by one explaining the letters. The letter Aleph doesn't have any sound. It's called Aleph. That's the first letter of the alphabet. Its sound will depend on the vowel. The vowels in Hebrew are dots or traces that you have under, inside, on the top of the letter. So this is the Aleph. Now it has no sound, but depending on the vowels, could be A, E, I, or U. The second letter is the letter Bet, and that has two possibilities. Bet with the sound B when it has a dot in the middle, or V when it doesn't have the dot in the middle. For us, the phonetics is more important than the name of the letters. So here it can be B or V. That's the second letter of the alphabet, Bet. The third letter is Gimel with the sound of G. G, Gimel, Gimel. It's like the G of English, G, G. Then you have the Dalet, sounds like D, D, like the D of English, Dalet. The next letter is Hey. Hey, it's a bit like the H of English, has a very little bit of air comes out of the mouth, Hey, Ha, and sometimes it's pronounced without any sound also, Ha, especially when it comes at the end of the word, Ha, Hey, the letter Hey. Then we have the letter Vav. Again, we saw that the letter Bet without the point in the middle has the sound of V, and so has the letter Vav, which is just one line. To write one line, depending on the font, it also has here on the top, but it's just one line like that. That's the letter Vav. However, if you have a dot on the top of it, then it sounds like O. And if the dot is in the middle, then it sounds like U. That's the letter Vav. Zain, Zain, that's like the Z of English, Zain, Z, Z, Zain. So that's the letter Zain with the sound of Z. Then you have the letter Chet. Chet. In the transliteration to Hebrew, usually put the CH as Ch for Chet. That's a guttural letter, and comes from the throat. Ch, Ch, Chet. That's the sound. Chet. You can also try. Again, the name of the letters are less important. More important the sound that you make. Chet. Tet. That's the sound of T, like the T of English. Tet. We're going to see that you have two T's in Hebrew. They have the same sound. Tet. T, like the T of English. Then the letter Yud or Yod, and has the sound of I. I. Yud, I, that's the 10th letter of the alphabet. I. Yud. Here we have the Kaf or Chaf. When you have a dot in the middle, then it has the sound of K, Kaf. Without the dot in the middle, then we have the sound of Ch, Chaf. In Hebrew we have a few letters. When they appear at the end of the word, they are written differently, and that's one of them. That's called Chaf Sofit, means a final Chaf or final Kaf. Chaf Sofit, final Chaf, and here when it appears in the beginning or in the middle of the word, that's the Chaf, and the dot of the middle, Kaf. And the Chaf and the Chet, they have the same sound. Afterwards, you're going to compare all of them. Lamed, that's the sound of L, L, L for Lamed, L. Mem. Mem. Again, the mem, when it appears at the beginning or the end of the word or the middle of the word, is written this way, like a triangle with a little chimney at the left side. But when it appears at the end of the word, then that's how it's written. That's a final mem. Mem when it appears at the end of the word. Mem with the sound of m, like the M of English. Nun with the sound of n, n for nun. And when it appears in the end of the word, we have the final nun, which is just a line that goes under the line. And sometimes it's written without this thing here on the top. So this is the nun, depending on the font. N for nun. Samer. Samer with the sound of s, s like the S of English. We're going to see that we have another s in Hebrew. There's letter Samer for s. Then we have Ain. Ain would be considered as soundless, no sound. However, it does have a guttural sound coming from the throats, like Ain. Ain. But for didactic purpose, we're going to do it as no sound at all, as most of the people pronounce it without a sound. Ain. So the sound of it will depend on the vowels. Again, the vowels that you have going to appear under on the top of it. The letter Pei, when it has a dot in the middle, the gesh, then it's called the P. P, like the P of English. Without it is F. So it can be P, or without it, the dot, without the dagesh, it's F. And when it appears at the end of the word, then we have the final F, final Fei, face of it. That's F. So here's the letter Fei without the dot in the middle, called dagesh, and with the dot in the middle, it's called Pei. End of the word, final Fei or face of it. Tzadi is ts, like ts or tz. Ts. Ts. We don't have a letter like that in English. Ts. Ts. And when it comes at the end of the word, it's final ts. Final ts. Final ts. It's like half a triangle, and then a little bit here on the right left. Ts. The next letter is the letter Kuf with the sound of K again. We saw another letter with the sound of K, the letter Chaf with dot in the middle, K, Kaf. And here we have the Kuf with the same sound of K, Kuf. Reish with the sound of R, like the R of English. R, Reish, Resh. R. Shin. The letter Shin is like SH of English. Sh. Sh. That when it has a dot in the right side of the letter. When the dot is the left side, then is the sound of S. S like the S of English. Sin or Shin. Sin or Shin. And you saw that we had another letter with the same sound, the letter Samech. It's like Shin, sin. Once more, this is Shin when the dot is in right side, Sin the left side, and of course in the modern Hebrew we know the vowel signs, but we don't really use that while writing every day, so we just know by the context if it's Shin or Sin. Taf, the last letter of the alphabet, with the sound of T, like the Tet that you saw before. T, Tav, Tav, T. So this is the whole alphabet. Alef, Bet, Gimel, Dalet, Hey, Vav, Zain, Het, Tet, Yud, Kaf, Kaf sofit, Lamed, Mem, Mem sofit, Nun, Nun sofit, Samech, Ain, Rei, Rei sofit, Tzadi, Tzadi sofit, Kuf, Reish, Shin or Sin, and Tav. Now we're going to read once more and we're going to explain once more, summarizing everything that you saw today. The letter Aleph has no sound. It will depend on the vowels that can appear underneath, in the middle, or on the top. So it can be A, E, I, or U depending on the vowels. By itself has no sound. Here's the letter Bet with the sound of B when it has a dot in the middle, or V, Vet, V, when it doesn't have a dot. Gimel, the sound of G, Dalet, D, Hey, a little bit of air comes out of the mouth, Hey, H, Vav, the letter Vav has the sound of V, like the letter Vet, without the dot in the middle, Vav, V. When it has a dot on the top of it, then it has the sound of O. In the middle left has the sound of U. So that's the letter Vav with three possibilities, V, O, U. Zain, Z, the sound of Z. Chet, Chet. Tet, T, Yud. Kaf with the dot in the middle, or Chaf without the dot in the middle. Chaf has the same sound as Chet. Then we have the final Chaf, Ch, just appears in the end of the word. Lamed with the sound of L. Mem with the sound of M. Final Mem, same Mem, but when it's written like that, when it appears in the end of the word. Nun with the sound of N, and here the final Nun. Samech, S. We saw also that the letter Shin, when it has a dot in the left side, they have the same sound, S and Sh. Ain, Ain. Pei without the dot is Fei. Pei with the dot, without the dot, Fei, and here when it appears in the end of the word, the final Fei. Tzadi, final Tzadi. Kuf, K, the sound of K, exactly like the Kaf with the dot in the middle, Kuf. Resh, the sound of R. Shin, with the dot in the right side, on the right side, and Sin, when it appears left side, and finally Taf. Alef, Bet, Gimel, Dalet, Hey, Vav, Zain, Chet, Tet, Yud, Kaf, Lamed, Mem, Nun, Samech, Ain, Fei, Tzadi, Kuf, Resh, Shin, Tav. So that was the introduction to our course, the first lesson. In the next lesson, we are going to learn the vowels and how to make syllabes and already to be able to read a few words. So you can subscribe to our channel and give a like here, and for sure share with other people. Thank you. See you next time.